Hello, my friends. It is our second Instagram live today. I'm going to get myself comfortable. I hope that many people will join because we have a very, very interesting conversation today. A very interesting topic. And today we will be talking about the tools and materials that we use to draw NeuroGraphica. As we discussed last time, NeuroGraphica, it is a graphical art. So it is not part of painting, so we don't use watercolors or acrylics or oil paints. We literally use only dry media to create NeuroGraphica and NeuroGraphic art. And I wanted to share with you the materials that I'm using for NeuroGraphica. The tools are extremely simple, and literally that's one of the reasons why Pavel Piskarev, the founder of NeuroGraphica, kind of invented the method, is for the method to be extremely accessible. And, he always saying that his dream is that literally everybody will be able to draw that. Oh, I have a comment. Hello, Anna. Hello. I waited for this topic. Yes, thank you very much. It's one of my favorite topics because I'm an artist. I've got artistic background and I love materials. I mean, if I show you how many materials I have, it'll be quite embarrassing. I've got lots. Because I use for my own arts, I do everything from oils to acrylics to watercolors to pastels to obviously dry media. I love coal and things like this. So as I said, art materials are one of my favorite topics. So as I said, NeuroGraphic is extremely accessible. Literally, if you have any paper, you can do NeuroGraphica. But my favorite materials are the following. So first of all, in order to create NeuroGraphica drawings, and especially if you join the basic user course, that the Institute's basic user course that is being taught by Pavel Piskarev, the founder himself, starts on 9th of January. Please write it in your diaries, 9th of January. And for that course, you will need extremely simple materials. So you will need paper, and paper comes, as you will find out once you do more and more, comes in different formats, and we use in NeuroGraphica different formats. So we can use starting from A3 format, which is if you take print paper. I think in America, when I have American students, they always say, what does it mean, A4 format? A4 format is printer size paper. So we use the printer size paper, A4 format. And so it is 8.3 by 11.7 inches. So anything around that size is okay. And we also use kind of smaller formats, A5 formats, which, as you can see, is half of the printer paper formats. So if you want to create something fast and you don't have as much time, you can use A5 format paper. And if you want to spend more time and really kind of get close and personal with the topic, you obviously need a bigger format paper. Like this. We normally use white paper because it's easier. My favorite color marker, as Pavel says, is black marker. So it's obviously easier to draw with a black marker. One thing to remember is the weight of the paper. And the weight is measured in grams per square meter. You will always see the weight of the paper here. There are different types, different brands of paper. There's Canson, there is, Delironi I've got here. There is some other, like, for example, I buy a lot of my products from Jackson's Arts, and they have their own kind of unbranded unbranded sort of albums and loose paper that you can buy. I normally buy paper in albums like this, for example. And what I love about this album, some people prefer ring binders, you know, kind of, you know, where you have, where it is, the paper is connected with rings, and then you can literally pull it out, or you can keep it in a ring, kind of in the same album. I prefer paper which is glued together. For example, this is a nice Canson album. And literally, because if you want to pull a piece of paper out, you just do this, and it creates a really nice kind of smooth cuts. And if you wanted to potentially use something in the printer, it will go through the printer. Obviously, excuse me, if your paper is ring bound in an album, you will need to spend some more time and cut it, you know, across. If you want to frame your drawing, again, it's nice, perfect line. So this is in terms of albums. So they can be ring bound, or they can be nicely kind of glued together. And if you want, it's easy to pull out. As I said, one of my favorite brands of paper, not just for this, but for mixed media, because often when we draw NeuroGraphica, we actually use mixed media. And, you know, I recommend kind of, I like the brand Canson. So look at the weight of the paper. For example, this is a really nice thick piece. I use it with artistic markers, with alcohol-based markers, because they bleed a lot. So, and if you take a high weight, it won't bleed as much. Also, this paper is slightly thinner. It's 160, you can see, grams per square meter. It is thinner, and if you're using alcohol-based markers, sometimes it will bleed. So what I do, my life hack, when I have albums, I always leave the last kind of cardboard backing, and when I draw using thinner paper, I kind of put it underneath so it doesn't bleed on my table or tablecloth, whatever you use. So I think for me, the absolute minimum weight of paper for doing NeuroGraphica is 120 grams per square meter. So this is 200, this is 160. You can see, let me pull one piece of paper out and I'll show you that it's much thinner. So this is 160, this is 200, and 120 will be even thinner. I don't have any 120s to show you, but I think for drawing NeuroGraphic, 120 is absolute minimum. Because I don't really use printer paper because it's really thin and it just doesn't have this nice kind of physical sensation. I feel like when it's printer paper, I need to be very careful with my materials because it can tear and you know, look unsightly. So I prefer thicker paper. So to summarize, you will need paper A4 and A5 formats. I would say minimum weight 120 grams per square meter. So this is my A5 format, also Canson. Also, you've got some of my drawings here. Yeah, but as I say, you can pull it out really quickly and easily, and it creates a nice cut. So this is in terms of paper. What else do you need? Obviously, if you come to the basic user course, you probably need a notebook to take notes and normal pens. For the basic user course, and when you are just starting NeuroGraphica, proper NeuroGraphica, we recommend using simple tools, and you can use felt tips. Felt tips is what they call them in kind of in Britain, or kind of Crayola markers that literally it's Crayola markers that they use in the United States and Canada, or Sharpies. I'm personally not a big fan of Sharpies. I prefer other types of markers. One of my favorite markers are the following. I quite like pilots. I quite like Edding. And there are two, I have always two sizes. Edding 300 is that kind of thicker marker. It creates a thicker line. They're great for field lines. And there is a smaller one. They're all permanent markers. So this is Edding 370. And it creates kind of a thinner line for main lines. As I say, I've got pilots in different colors. And I also, I recommend for the basic user course, for my basic user course, art markers. For example, they can be different brands. I mean, these are Ahuhu markers. There are some really expensive kind of like designers into stranded Copic markers, but they're quite expensive. If you're into sustainability, Copic markers, they do markers that you can actually recharge. You can buy ink separately and you can recharge them. I must admit that they're quite dear. So I use normally art markers. They're alcohol based and they come in kind of variety of colors. I always, another my life hack, I quite like pastel colors. With art markers, what's important is to try them. Like, for example, when you do archetyping and sometimes the color looks quite light on the pen, but when you start actually coloring, they go really dark and it's quite difficult to kind of to do anything with it. So, alcohol-based markers. Another beauty of alcohol markers, because they always come one end is, as you can see, kind of like normal felt tip or kind of Sharpie, and the other end, it's a broad end, and it's good for kind of for covering large areas with color. So, for example, if you're doing the basic user course, you can literally do your catharsis or all the lines with this end. And if you're doing the field lines, you can use the thicker ends. So that's my advice. I really like them. Another fantastic tool for the basic user course and generally for NeuroGraphica, it is text highlighters. I've got quite a few. I've got a whole basket here. So they are great. Why are they great? So, for example, if you're just starting, you can literally get a couple of markers and just text highlighters. Text highlighters are fantastic because they are transparent. They're transparent. They're really lovely, kind of bright colors. You can layer them. Some people, when they start using text highlighters, they're quite kind of afraid to layer them, but I really recommend you to layer. So, for example, you can go yellow, bright, kind of neon yellow, and then you can go with pink over it, and it will create kind of nice orange or slightly like different nuances of color. They're beautiful. So the brands I use are Stabilo, and I just bought this lovely set. They are Staedtler. So some Staedtler highlighters. They are great as well. Another beautiful thing about text highlighters are because they are you can lay them with pencils. That's another tool that I recommend everyone having, and to be honest, most you probably have them. It are colored pencils. I think in America they're sometimes called colored crayons, and there are many different types. I use Faber-Castell pencils. They're wonderful. I've got a really large set. There's also, like, if you want to go high brand, is Carandache, the Swiss brand. It's fantastic. And then there are many others. I really like if you're in Europe and they're really affordable, Giotto pencils. They're an Italian brand. And I really like, I think it's called Lyra, either Lyra or Lyra pencils. And it's Lyra. Again, they're fantastic pencils. They're very soft. They give color really well. If you want to go for softer kind of pencils that give color easily, also watercolor pencils are fantastic for that. And even sort of cheaper brands, if you buy watercolor pencil, it will be great. I mean, we don't really recommend mixing them with water for NeuroGraphica drawings, because then we're going more into NeuroArt kind of area. So because for NeuroGraphica, what's important is for everything to be dry media, because that kinesthetic kind of movement of kind of hatching of coloring, it kind of, we're applying kind of more pressure, and it creates kind of, we spend more time with the drawing and creates new neural connections. So I wanted to show you a couple of other pencils. Bear with me a second. Yes, I got them here just to show you different variety. I have some pencils that they're quite interesting. I use them sometimes. They're Kohinoor pencils, and they are inside the lid, the LEDs, you know, inside they are multicolored. So they create sometimes, although when you layer them, they are kind of their particular color, for example, green, but sometimes they're like chameleons. They can be slightly more yellow or more green or go into blue. They're lovely. And I think they're called Magic Pencils, Kohinoor. Another one, just for fun, I bought them. To be honest, I don't really use them a lot. They're Progressa. They're also Kohinoor brands. And they're woodless coloring pencils. So they're literally, what it says is, this is what you have inside the pencil. It's kind of the core of the pencil, but they've decided just to have the core without the wood around it. So some people like that. And I do know there's a massive fan base for them. There's this. So if you start drawing NeuroGraphica and you enjoy it, I really recommend splashing a little bit on materials and try different materials. And see what you enjoy doing, because NeuroGraphica is a beautiful, beautiful window into the art world, into creativity, having some fun and create something amazing. So to summarize, for NeuroGraphica, we need paper, preferably 120 grams per square meter and above. Also for paper, remember to make sure that the paper is quite smooth, because I had students who all they had is watercolor paper, and if you know, the watercolor paper is a little bit bumpy, so the pencils and the highlighters and colors don't lay very smoothly. So paper, make sure it's smooth, white, 120 grams per square meter or above. Then we need markers, so any types of markers, from felt tips to adding or to Copic, etc. Also, if you are the type of person who doesn't like when colors smudge, I highly recommend going for permanent markers. So permanent markers, when you apply color on top, text highlighters or alcohol-based markers, it doesn't smudge. So markers, permanent markers, text highlighters or alcohol-based markers, and regular pencils, and you are good to go. So hello, I'm just reading some of the comments. I've got hello, I've got okay, I have to buy any thin paper. Vice versa, I recommend going for slightly thicker paper, 120 grams per square meters and above, because there's a printer type paper. It's great for the office and great for printing documents, but for drawing, especially if you're going to be using it with for algorithm removing limitations or algorithm removing judgments, when you need to throw your kind of emotional frustration on paper, it can tear. So that's why I recommend slightly thicker paper for drawing. Oh, you have behind you beautiful drawing. Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Wonderful, wonderful. Hello, Anna, on to the topic. Yes, so thank you. Just wondering, do you have any questions about the materials? I will be happy to answer all of your questions. Another thing, I wanted to invite those of you who just see NeuroGraphica or NeuroGraphic art or Neuro Arts on YouTube, or maybe some pretty pictures on Instagram or Facebook. I would like to invite everyone for the basic user course. And if you have done the basic user course and you are kind of want to learn more and maybe connect your life with NeuroGraphica, I've got an exciting announcement that in 2 days' time, we're opening registration and actually enrollment with the best possible price. We have a very, very, very special early bird fee for NeuroGraphica instructor course. It is starting in May 2024, which is actually like 5 months away, and we're opening the registration. So the earlier the register, basically the cheaper it will be. So if you want to connect your life with this beautiful life, with this beautiful kind of method, then I would like to invite you all for our NeuroGraphica instructor training course. So thank you very much once again. So if you have any further questions, please post them in comments below this video. We will save this video on our official channel, and we will we will answer them. The specialist course is at the moment you can take it with NeuroGraphic instructors, and we are working to offer it in some time in the future. Thank you, to my absolute pleasure. As I said, I do like materials, and I showed you a very, very, very small fraction of what I own. I love my materials, and I like playing with materials and create different kind of effects, because in NeuroGraphica drawing, last year the 8th step was introduced called style, so where you can kind of do more things, like for example introduce shading to your drawings. It needs to follow the rules, obviously, and if you want to know the rules, join our basic user course. But it's nice to have different materials to do different things. So thank you very much again. Thank you, Sue. Yes, thank you, and I will see you soon. The next week it is going to be Christmas, so we won't be doing sort of the live Instagram live, but the next Instagram live we will do on 29th of December. So if you have any questions, we will be doing some questions in our stories, and please answer them. What would you like to learn? What would you like me to talk about in the future? So thank you very much once again, and I hope to see you at our courses. Bye bye.